I realize some people will question if this is true or not, and I can understand that. It's so bizarre and surreal that it seems to be the result of an overactive imagination, not an actual real-life thing. Believe what you will, this is what happened. I live and work in the very north of Scandinavia. I'm from the Sami people, and my family always lived a traditional Sami life, until it simply wasn't possible anymore. Then the family farm turned into a tourist attraction. Its biggest hit among the visitors was the dog sled experience. We would take them out in the evening for a tour with the dogs, show them the stunning aurora borealis, and stop somewhere for coffee and traditional food cooked over a campfire. One afternoon, one of the guests didn't show for the ride, and the others went ahead without him. It was my day off, and I was surprised to see the foreign guest hanging around the property. Why had he decided not to go on the tour with the rest? He was the only one traveling alone. A bit shy and silent, and he looked very lost. "I forgot the time," he explained to me, looking very disappointed that he missed out on the highlight of the trip to this exotic place. "I promised everyone at home to show them a video of this, but now it'll never happen." He sighed, and I felt sad for him. He was from Japan and had saved money for a long time to come here, and now he was missing out. "Okay, I'll take you on a tour," I offered. After all, he had paid a lot to get to go, so why not? Since the real dog sled was already out, I offered to show him how to use a kick spark, so we could take one each and go for a ride. It was a beautiful, cold night, and when we stopped for coffee, we saw the spectacular aurora borealis. At that moment, something strange happened with this polite, shy man. He started to get really, really flirty. Suddenly, he tells me that the god of the wilderness had spoken and that we were meant to be. I freaked the fuck out and told him to stop that nonsense. He did not. Instead, he grabbed my hand and pulled me close, trying to kiss me. I thought he must be psychotic, and the fact that we were out in the middle of nowhere, on a lake to be exact, far from people, dawned on me. He tried to kiss me again, this crazy dark look in his eyes. He had started to act aggressive, and I tried to push him away, but he held onto my arm and started to try and reach for my scarf. He went on about how he had always dreamed of coming here to find his wife, and that he had now decided that I was the one. When he tried to throw me down in the snow, I screamed, and before he could react, Laika, my husky, had attached herself to his arm and hung on for dear life. The man started to cry and tell me that he was lonely and wanted to marry me and have lots of kids. I told him that I don't want a marriage or any kids, and absolutely not with him. I also explained that I was going back now, and if he wanted to, he could follow, or if he preferred, he could lie down and wait for the cold of the Arctic to claim his life. The wolves could do with a treat. During the ride back, I contemplated if I should report the incident to the police or not. You need to realize that the police in the area are pretty much non-existent, and something like this would not conjure much action from anyone. So, I didn't. Once we came back, the man got off the kick spark and started walking towards the main road and the bus stop to take the bus back to the nearest village. I didn't bother telling him that he would have to wait for a bus to stop there. And no one would pick up a hitchhiker here either. To all the creepy, overly lovesick people out there, never try to be violent with a woman who is the pack leader of a team of huskies. They might look nice and sweet, but trust me, mess with their owner, and you get the teeth in the blink of an eye. When I was around 6, I had my own bedroom, and although it was quite tiny, it was very cozy to me. I had a built-up bed. It had sorta a bunk bed, but without a bed underneath. I had drawers and a desk, and literally enough space for me and my friends to crawl underneath to play or hide. I thought my bed was the coolest thing around. I repeatedly hid under it and jumped out at anyone who came into my room. All I had to do was pull the desk out, crawl under the bed, and pull the desk in after me. It left more than enough room for me to move about. Plus, I could see the shoes, trousers, and knees of anyone who walked into my room from the small space between the drawers. Boo! I would say as I jumped out. As you can guess, this joke had gotten quite old after a few attempts. If my mom, or brother, or dad came into my room and couldn't see me, they would know straight away that I'd be under the bed, and would pull out the desk, bend down, and see me. Plan ruined. One night my mom and dad were going out to eat with some friends, and we were left at home. My brother, who was 15 at the time, was told to look after me. I had been given pizza, Coke, and ice cream, and told not to bother him as he had friends coming around. Naturally, I was playing Barbies in my hiding place, feeling pretty happy with myself while stuffing my face with pizza. I heard my brother say that he will be back in a bit, and out the door he went. Whatever. I wasn't bothered. I carried on playing with my Barbies. I'm not sure how much time had passed, but I heard the door open and heard people talking. A few minutes later, I saw from between the drawers the door open and a pair of legs walk in. "Amanda, it's Daddy." "Hello?" I was just about to pop out and yell again when I noticed a few things. When I had hugged my dad goodbye earlier, he was all dressed up. He was wearing nice black trousers, and this guy was wearing dirty blue jeans. Also, his voice was too rough to sound like my dad's. Plus, if it was my dad, he would know where I would be straight away. I stayed in my quiet place, not making noise. Whoever was in my room was suddenly joined by another pair of legs. "Where is she?" I heard another man say. Fuck knows, man. She should be here," the man wearing the dirty pair of jeans said. "Maybe he took her with him. There's always another time. Let's go. He's going to come back soon." And the pair of legs left. I heard them go down the stairs and the door open and closed. I remained silent and in my hiding place. Not long after that, the front door went again. It was my brother. He came upstairs and pulled the desk out and greeted me by asking if I wanted to watch a Disney film with him. I told him about the pair of legs, and he believed me. He said that whoever was standing in my room had dragged mud up the stairs and left some on my carpet. He called our parents, and they came home straight away. My brother had apparently walked his friends home and walked past two guys. One of them had asked his friend what the time was. He said that he thought it was odd, as the guy who asked was wearing a watch. The only thing that my family could come to was that there were some men who had been watching us for a while. They knew my parents were out, they knew my brother had just left, and they also knew my name. Because I could only see them from the knees down, I obviously didn't look at their faces, and I didn't see anything important. We did, though, have a few break-ins a few weeks earlier, and my dad thinks that was them trying to scope the area. I don't know why they were looking for me, or how they knew my name, though. We moved shortly after my encounter with them. Thank God they didn't know about my hiding place. When I was about 8 years old, I lived in a very small town. Around that time, People were building tons of houses. And being in the middle of nowhere as a kid, the two funnest things to play in were mud and those half-constructed houses. I hung out with the same group of friends just about every day, and by the time we returned home from school, the construction men were long gone. So, we were doing our thing and playing and whatnot, when this teenager comes up to us. He's maybe 15 or 16, kinda chunky, with short brown hair and an awkward mustache. We'll call him Jason. I figure one particular friend of mine knows him since he has the habit of randomly striking up conversations with people in town. We'll call this friend Jake. From the impression I have, Jake knows Jason a bit, and we all start hanging out. It's all good at first, but then Jason pulls out a wad of cash and starts daring us to do stuff. Every time we accomplish a dare, he offers to give us $20. My friends did all kinds of stupid stuff, mostly eating gross things like a spider or something. It didn't really bring up any alarms, maybe because I was too greedy to see the harm in it. Eventually, a few of my friends leave, and it's just Jake, Jason, and I. Jason offers me $20 if I can dodge rocks that he throws at me. I was reluctant at first, but then he raises up the price, and I wanted to prove I'm not a complete wimp, so I do it. One after another for what feels like an hour. He tries to hit me with these rocks from about 30 feet away. Thankfully, I keep dodging it, but with each throw, I can see this guy is getting irritated, and may in fact actually want to hurt me. Finally, I'm fed up, and at this point just want to go home. We stop the game, but Jason is stalling for some reason, after we're telling him that we're heading home. Then Jason makes one more offer, and for a larger price. I'll give you $200 if you two have sex in that house over there. Referring to me and Jake. This was when I turned to Jake, and have an immediate feeling of what the fuck did we just get ourselves into. We exchange a glance that can be read as, we need to leave now. We don't want to piss this guy off, and the feeling that we need to run away, all the time, all the while practically walking on eggshells. We basically say no and say we are expected to go home soon, but this guy won't drop it. And eventually, while he's trying to convince us, we make a run for our bikes and pedal as fast as we can. While we make a run for it, Jason runs to his four-wheeler and starts chasing after us. We pedal as fast as we can, but his four-wheeler keeps up with us, and he starts gently tapping the back of our tires with the front of his wheeler. At first, I think this was meant as a scare tactic. I don't think he was trying to kill us, but he still wouldn't leave us alone. As we got further away from the secluded construction area and closer to our homes, where people could hear us screaming, he started to get off our asses, and the last thing I heard from him was, "I know where you live. Keep your mouth shut." After we were in safety, Jake goes on about not telling anyone what happened. I was late in getting home, which made my mom question my whereabouts. I told her everything, and she called the cops. After the cops were called, I was told the reason he may have had all that money is because prior to that day, someone had robbed the nearby gas station. I wasn't really kept in the loop after that, so I don't know what actually happened to Jason. From what I heard, I don't think he was arrested. And if he was, it was for a short while, but my stepdad made sure he became a target among our neighbors. He never messed with us again.